Oh yeah, we're back for more. I got this other one. This actually came from Goodwill that my neighbor got it for me. It was broken. It's one of those ones that barks, has a sensor. The jaw was broken, hanging wide open. So my neighbor got it for me. I took the head off, took it apart, and I found some broken pieces. I got some E6000, glued them together, and now it works just fine. I would turn it on, but it's like super, super annoying. Great for Halloween, but it's just kind of obnoxious right now. So I'm gonna go with the same deal like I did on the last dog. I'm gonna stain it with the barn red, and I'm gonna throw on dryer lint. Got a bunch of saved dryer lint for Halloween projects, and let it dry overnight. So I'm gonna get that going here. If you have a old wig or an old baby doll or something like that that you don't care about, or that your kid doesn't care about anymore, cut some of the hair off of it and throw some hair on it after you do the dryer lint. I got these cheap brushes. They're from the Dollar Tree. You get 3 for $1. $1.25 now, actually. So just gonna go through and brush it all red. Nothing has to look good. Oh, I will mention this does have plastic wrap all around it that I melted with my torch, so it gives it that kind of melted skin kind of look once it's all done. Just want to get this red everywhere. I really love doing Halloween props. Makes the yard fun for trick-or-treaters and just cool for the neighborhood during the holidays. And Halloween's really cool because it's like the kickoff for the holiday season. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I have children, so it makes it really fun. But I really, really like decorating for Halloween. Working on a real big 12-foot monster guy right now. I'll end up doing some videos on it. I'm making it out of an old gazebo that I bought from Walmart. Aluminum gazebo. I'm using that for the legs and the chest. And I've got all kinds of pool noodles around it, melted plastic to look like skin, and big skull head on it. It's a little bit above, about 12 and a half feet tall is what it's going to be. But I will make videos on that. I already have some. I just gotta, when I finish it, I'll edit them all together and post a video. This is looking really good so far. Tip it over and try to get inside the best I can. Get this red all over. Get everything. Because you're going to go back and dry brush it black. and it's just going to look burnt up and just disgusting, which is what we want for this project. Been watching a lot of Halloween tutorial people. I really like this guy, Drakenfang. He does some awesome paper mache work, pumpkins and masks and all that kind of stuff. And I really like Monster Tutorials. He has all kinds of really cool stuff. He does some really great eyeballs for all kinds of skulls, zombie style, just any kind of style you can think of, and they look super, super realistic. Plus, he does all kinds of other tutorials with all kinds of creepy stuff. Monster hunters, or Hollywood Halloween hunters, they have some pretty cool videos looking for home haunts and Grim Life. Grim Life Collective, they're really, really cool. They have a bunch of cool videos. These dogs that bark, I really wouldn't suggest buying them unless you can find them at Goodwill, because they're just so cheap around the animatronic part that moves. Inside there, the piece that holds this jaw on, whenever it barks, is just this tiny little bitty piece of super thin plastic. It's kind of a joke. And I'm not sure what this thing cost. Brand new from the store. I'm guessing at least 20 bucks. Okay, got it all stained red. Now I'm going to go through with the dryer lint. Just like before, you just get some dryer lint, stick it on there wherever you want. Don't worry about making it look pretty, because it's not supposed to look pretty. I'm going to lay it down. The more you put on there, the more skin look you're going to have. So all this, I have 2 daughters and my wife with their long hair, so all that long hair in the dryer lint is perfect for this. Well, I actually have 3 daughters, but only 2 live with me. Just go back with your stain and you stain right over them. If you need to, you can just stain a little bit now. If you're having trouble with it, let it dry for day or 2, however long it takes. I put mine out in the sun and it dried like in a couple hours. Just get the cheapest stain you can get. after I dry brush it with the black, I go back over with some clear Rust-Oleum clear spray paint or whatever kind of cheap spray paint you can get. Just the cheap stuff's fine because it gives it a little. I use clear so it makes it look wet, or gloss. I mean, because I like that kind of wet look to it. Makes it look really realistic. This is starting to look really good. Also looks like chunks of meat hanging off. Be very, very liberal with your stain, because that dryer lint's just going to soak it right up, and it acts as a glue for that dryer lamp. Get little bits that hang from hair. Perfect. Try to do a video at least once a week, but we'll see how that works out. I had a YouTube channel before, and I just wasn't consistent enough. That was all kind of about RC cars and that kind of thing. Now I have a bunch of RC cars and trucks that my kids don't even play with, so I'm done getting RC stuff. And when you let this dry, if you don't like the amount of skin or meat hanging on there, add some more stain, throw some more on there. This dryer lamp with this red stain looks super nasty. It just looks like chunks of meat. Old nasty meat.
Especially going to bed. I'll catch you in the bed. Are you sorry?
really makes those plain skeleton figures look so much better doing this. Just make sure you do the plastic first, because that really gives it that skin look, and it gives something for the dryer lamp to kind of bond to. If I get little chunks that fall off here, I just put them back on there, throw some more stain on them. It's just going to look better. I mean, this thing looks hideous. Looks absolutely hideous. Which is what I want. Just almost there. This one has light up eyes too, so it's got those nice red LEDs in it. And this is sensor on this one's very sensitive too, so just lightly talking or even just walking by sets this one off. So my goal is to do enough videos that hopefully I can monetize it and make money to do more videos on making Halloween props, Christmas stuff too, around Christmas time. But I'm going to focus on scary Halloween stuff and maybe invest back into some animatronic type stuff. I'd really like to get some motors and some, I think they're called Raspberry Pi programming cards or something like that, and have some moving props. So I'm going to go with what I got for now. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll probably go back with some more stain and dryer lint. Definitely going to have to do the head more. It's just getting hard to see out here. And the stuff that's on here, I don't want to keep knocking it off. But it's looking pretty nasty right now, which is exactly what I want. So there you go. That's that part of it. just stain. Do the plastic wrap, melt it with your torch as much as you want to melt it. Like I have some spots going through where you can see into the cavity of the body. And then go back through and stain it. Put your dryer lint all over it, or you could use toilet paper. You can use cotton balls. You could probably even make some paper clay and do something with it, but this way is definitely more efficient than using paper clay. And it looks super realistic. But I suggest getting a barn red or some kind of red to lay down as your base coat. Because when you go back over it with your black, the dry brush black, it looks totally like a burnt, mangled up corpse. So I'm gonna put this next to the other dog I did, and my plan is to find a baby doll somewhere from Goodwill or Salvation Army or something like that, and corpse it out and put it in the middle, holding leashes on these two. So and maybe some kind of light in front of them whenever they're on display. Get yourself some gloves if you're going to do this. I got these off of Amazon, 100 count for $13, I do believe. So, give a closer look here. It's looking pretty grotesque. The head, I still have to do it up, but yeah, it's hard to tell, but I have one over here done. Up here. And it is super cool. It looks super nasty. Bug just flew in my ear. I mean, look at that. This thing is sweet. Got the latex on the head like Monster Tutorials technique. Works really great. Thanks for watching. Back at it. I'm happy I got 10 skulls from the Dollar Tree. Gonna get them out of the way here. Also got a bunch of chain. And I'm wearing an apron because I have like 1.5 decent shirts. So I'm gonna keep one decent. Alright. We are gonna finish the face on this guy. The body is looking pretty good. Some lumpy stuff left over. Get your gloves. You're gonna want them if you're doing stain. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I got these on Amazon, box of 100 for I think $12, $12.49 or something like that. It's the best price I could find right now. Been sitting a day, so it's separated a little bit. Got my dryer lint. Hit a few spots that I missed with the stain. Bit more on the underside here. For the dryer lint, just use a little or a lot, depends on how much you want it matted up or how much of that meat look that you're going for. I kind of break it up. Some big chunks here, big chunks there, little chunks everywhere. It's looking nasty. Got a bunch of pool noodles and some chicken wire so I can do the body of the big 12.5-foot guy I'm making. So I'll be able to get some more videos going on that and post it when I get done with it, so it'll be a completed video. It's a big chunk up here. Got some styrofoam from my washing machine I bought. I'm gonna make a big gravestone with it, and I had a neighbor that just got a washing machine and they had their styrofoam laying out at the curb, so I stopped and grabbed it, because you can make some 3-foot tall by 3-foot wide tombstones with that styrofoam. Those things are expensive from the store. I can't believe it. Styrofoam's crazy price. Try not to get any on the teeth unless you want a little bit of stragglers hanging, but I think it looks better if you have the teeth showing. Not going to put much on the lower jaw, just because, like I said, the mechanism that makes this thing move is very, very cheap. It's a thin little piece of plastic in there, so you don't want much weight on there. Just a little bit to give it that effect on the bottom. But you don't need much, really. I mean, it looks great, just a little bit. Giant hawk out on the tree out here. This thing is huge. Maybe a little bit more on the nose, and I think we're good. Not too worried in the eye here. I've got some liquid latex that I can paint in there and give it that kind of skin look too. A little bit more on this side, and then I think that this is it on this guy till it dries, and then dry brush it. Maybe a little latex around the eyes. This might come out looking pretty good, actually. Just going to go back through and make sure I've got all the dryer lint stained red so it hardens up and sticks real good. Get inside that cavity a little bit. I think maybe a little meat on this leg down here would look good. I got a little bit of the bone showing on the inside of the jaw here that I've tried to get. I just can't get to it, and I don't want to pull it and break that piece again. Well, break it after fixing it. I seem to get it. Make sure you definitely get stain on any of the plastic wrap, or otherwise it's just going to look kind of weird. As soon as you stain it, it looks like burnt skin immediately. There's another technique where you could just stain the skeleton and then get some spray foam, the great stuff, and then just get some rubber gloves. Put the great stuff down on a piece of paper or something like that and just dip your glove into it, rub it on your hands, and just rub it all over the skeleton. And that'll give it a kind of burnt corpse look also. And you go back through and stain it red over the foam. I guess you could just do the foam and then stain it. And then once all the stain dries, then you can go back and do the black dry brush over everything. So this is looking pretty good. I got chunks hanging and hairs hanging, and it looks nice and meaty. It's looking pretty grotesque. I think with the other dog I did and a burnt baby doll in between the two of them holding leashes and a light out in front of them, this should be pretty cool in a little cemetery scene in the front yard. So I'll set this thing back out to dry for the last time, and then when I come back through and do the black dry brush, I will continue the video. Alright, I think while I'm waiting on that to dry, since I got 10 of these skulls, and I think I got more, I think I have some from last Halloween in my back garage. I'm going to grab 5 of these and do them the same way I'm doing these dogs. I've done the burnt corpse look on the skeletons with the great stuff foam look, and they come out awesome. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do 5 of them with this stain and dryer lint. I did some of these also green and orange. with the dry brush, so it wasn't all black. The green and orange ones are cool because they look kind of like some creepy zombie style. I think these ones I'm just going to really go to town on this dryer lint. Bit down on the chin. Just douse them. Got some store-bought eyeballs that I put in some of them. They just don't look as cool as if you make your own eyes or spend the money on some realistic looking eyes. But I would suggest you just make them. Monster Tutorials has some great tutorials on how to make some realistic looking eyes, all different kinds of ways, whether you want it like zombified or realistic, or if you want them always looking at you, those eyes that always seem to look at you no matter what angle you get. Yeah, seems pretty cool. Do a little bit on the back here. Just the first part, they will look great once they dry and you get the dry brush on. And you can even just throw this stuff on with your hands if you want to. Great way to take those cheap Dollar Tree skulls and make them look very realistic and much, much, much cooler. Now I'm in the north of Tampa Bay area in Florida, and we have some Halloween stuff at our Dollar Trees here. So that may or may not be the case for you depending on where you're at. But I believe you can order them online. They come in a case of 40. I don't know if you can only order them around Halloween or what, but I know you can definitely order them around Halloween, and they are a case of 40. I've seen a bunch of people posted their Lowe's and Home Depot 2022 tours, Halloween tours. I went to mine and they have nothing for Halloween out yet. Stopped by the Goodwill, see if I could get a costume for a pumpkin man I'm making, and Goodwill didn't have any Halloween stuff out either, and no one at either store could tell me when they were going to put anything out. I may even go back over these with the great stuff, just to kind of dial something in. But this will give it a really good base to go off of as far as meaty, chunky nastiness. I'm gonna get a little more on the back of this one. If you go to the dollar stores, a lot of the times they will have those really cheap headbands for little girls that have the hair on them, different colored hair, green, purple, red, brown. You get some of those, they'll last you a while. You can cut the hair off of them and put them on your props. It's looking good. The best thing about doing this stuff is you get to be careless. Doesn't matter. Just make them look disgusting. This look is disgusting, so make them look disgusting. If you got kids, get your kids some gloves, maybe some eye protection so they don't flap it up in their face and their eyes. And they'll love to do this. So I think actually the other 5 I have, I'll let my kids do those. Probably the only one interested in doing it will be my youngest. She's 7 and she's my dangerous child. She is a gray and black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's been doing jiu-jitsu for going on 5 years now. And she is a little monster. Since I'm on the jiu-jitsu subject, shout out to Tom Hardy. I didn't realize he was a jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a blue belt, and he recently just won a competition or a couple competitions. So shout out to him. It's pretty cool. Bane, Mr. Bane. And you can use toilet paper too. Toilet paper looks really, really cool. It gives it that kind of mummy look. But for some odd reason, I'm drawn to this nasty burnt corpse look. I think it looks just great for sick Halloween displays. chin. You see, I really just pour that stain on there. You want all that dryer lint to get saturated. It turns hard and it sticks and looks realistic. That one so far. And the last one for now. It's Tuesday today, so I'm limited on time. I have a kids jiu-jitsu class that I help coach on Tuesdays. Clamps falling in the background. My daughter, 14-year-old, started wrestling today. Well, today after school, her wrestling practice starts. First time doing wrestling, but she also has been doing jiu-jitsu about 5 years. She is a, I think, yellow belt, yellow and black belt, jiu-jitsu. Yellow belt. I think she's a yellow belt with four stripes. My son is a yellow belt with, I think, 2 stripes. My wife is a purple belt. And I am a purple belt. So we're all jiu-jitsu people. Try to get a little stand up here and there with one of my black belt professors, Professor Ricky. Whenever we're in class together and we have our gloves and our shin guards, we get a little sparring action going. Nothing too heavy, but enough to get a nice sweat. Get used to some action in case you need it. And this one here I'm gonna leave, maybe I'll go a little bit more. This one I'll throw some in the eyeball, or the eye socket. Just flood it. Actually, I like that. So I'm going to do this eyeball too. Eye socket. Oh yeah, it's looking right. It's looking right. Put some in the eye sockets. I think it looks pretty cool. So there's 5 of those done. While I'm waiting on the dog to dry. Those can dry also. And then I'm one step closer to having some more skulls in my display. Wrap up your brush, save them. You know, you're just doing nasty stuff with it anyway, so might as well hold on to it as long as you can instead of wasting a couple dollars on another brush. But if you have to, go to Dollar Tree and get the pack of 3 brushes. You get 3 brushes for $1.25, and they're perfect for what we're doing here. So I will be back. Let me show you these actually. Looking good so far. Got the dog out there drying in the sun. We'll be back. Okay. It's the next day, and this thing is all dry. Got my cheap gloss black paint here. These little paint trays, Dollar Tree again. Cheap paintbrush. Just gonna dip it in and just try to do a little bit of dry brushing. It's not extremely dry brushing because you do want that charred look. So we will get that going. Put about that much, and then I just kind of dab it on the little paint tray, and then just go to town all over it. Down on the feet, you might want to go a little heavy so you don't have any brush marks. If you didn't put any meat chunks down there, because if not, it'll leave little brush marks. This technique with the dryer lint works so good. Just the little bit that I've just done right here, I mean, it looks great. These plastic pieces that are showing on here, right in there and there, definitely make those black, because that's going to make it look super realistic. Those chunks hanging. Do got a nice camera. I'm gonna set that thing up so the video quality will be much better than just using my phone. Hopefully the next 2 or 3 videos I'll have that working off of that camera. You guys ain't got any kind of suggestions for other YouTube channels to watch, for ideas, or if you have any ideas, definitely let me know. not too worried about underneath here. That's where the batteries go, so I left it all open right there. So I got, this is my second dog that I've done now. And my idea is to have 2 of these on each side of either a doll or a skeleton. Both, or either one that I do, done in the same manner as this one, or these 2. Can't decide if I want to do a doll or a skeleton. I think a doll would really kind of set it off. But I got a couple of really cool things today from the Dollar Tree that I'm going to use if it's a doll, which I'm kind of leaning more towards the doll. Holding the leash in between the 2 dogs. And I'm pretty sure what I got is new to Dollar Tree because I've never seen it there before. And if you have the chance to stop by and get some, I suggest you do so because I don't think they're going to last very long. I also got like 6 more skulls today just because I was at a different Dollar Tree and they had some. And I will show you what that cool thing I got is as soon as I'm done brushing this with the black. You go heavy as you, or as light as you would like. I do have some little spots like in here that are bare bone color, which I like to leave just a little bit. I might go back through and add a little yellow greenish kind of white tint to the teeth. This guy's starting to look super charred up. A little more char on the face here. I'm going to come back through with a better or a smaller paintbrush to get in the eyes, just because this has those red LEDs in there. I don't want to cover them. You know what? I don't think this paint's going to hurt if I do. Just be a little careful with it. Chunks that are hanging are perfect. That's pretty good on that. It's looking pretty nasty. I'm going to have this one with the legs back, kind of perched up on something, just so you can see the eyes better at night. Now, have some of this black hair from a doll that my daughter doesn't know I cut hair off of. So I looked at Dollar Tree today and I couldn't find any of those headbands with the hair on them, but I just cut a chunk off of her doll. She'll never know. Got some hot glue. Just gonna cut some of this up and go through, glue a few strands of hair on there. Actually, it might even just stick with the black paint we just put on there. I'm just cutting it up real thin and fine like that. I think I'll just go through and just kind of rub some on there. Just kind of let it sit like that. Whatever paint it grabs onto, it'll stick to it. I think that looks better. And like I said, I will be hitting this with some clear spray paint. Any spray paint of your choice. So that's going to help hold everything together and give it more of a wet look, which is the look I like. If you don't like the wet look, just get the matte or the satin spray paint. Plus it's going to kind of help waterproof any of the dryer lint that didn't get saturated with the stain. It's going to help hold all this hair in there. Just thin it out. Just go through and kind of rub it on. And if you get a spot that you want some hair in and it isn't sticking too good, Get a little more paint. Dab it. Get your hair. And voila. A little paint on the butt. Some hair back there. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do that hair. I thought I was going to hot glue it, but I think just sticking it to the paint actually looks pretty good. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. Definitely looks better than what I started with. Just a plain Jane looking skeleton. Didn't really do any underneath, you're not gonna see it. But now that I'm saying that, let me do some underneath. At least a little bit. Maybe some up in here. Take some of that right there. A little bit more hair. I'm in my garage right next to the garage door, so cleanup for me is super easy. I got a leaf blower. I just blow it all out there. All this kind of stuff like this. But this synthetic hair is pretty easy to clean up anyway. Now, if you were going to do hot glue, I would just get a chunk, put the hot glue on there, and then get yourself a toothpick or something. That way when you stick it to it, you can use the toothpick to smear it on there. It's going to look a little more natural. It won't have that glob of hot glue standing out. And you could go back with some of your black char paint and touch it up if you end up doing that, and it'll give it a little more blended, natural kind of appeal. A little more paint here. Just gonna rub some hair in there. Just get it all over. Why not? Get some up in here. Just do one last check. Maybe I'll get a little bit of this hair on the chin here. Too much there. Just throw that hair on the back. I think she's done, or he's done, or whatever you want to call it. And I'll do the spray paint and it'll be done. And I'll put the picture of what it looks like after it's all done with the spray paint on there for the thumbnail. That way you can see the final product. I got these skulls, they're all dry, so gotta figure out what I want to do with those. But what I was talking about that I would like to do with this dog and the other dog, in between them, a doll that has this burnt corpse kind of look just like this. I got this little pot hanger from Dollar Tree. I was thinking stick this in the ground next to the doll. And I've never seen these there before, but they had these little vampire blood bags, which I'm thinking hang a blood bag from this. So this will be next to the doll that's got the leashes holding the dogs. I got some tubing that I can hot glue into here, and then take the tubing and run it into like the doll's vein or into her head or something like that. And they had these at the Dollar Tree too, so I think I might get some Kool-Aid. I have fake blood, but I don't want to waste it in these. I'll get some Kool-Aid and put it in these, and maybe just throw fake blood on it, and hot glue them to the doll's head all over, or around it, so it looks like it's just been stuck all over, maybe in its arm or something. But I thought these bags were really cool. I'd never seen them before. I got two of these crows here, or these birds, that I'm going to do two of them the way Monster Tutorials did. He has a really cool tutorial on a couple of bird corpsing that he did with the Great Stuff foam and some red latex paint, and he got some black feathers and kind of put them on there, and they look super cool. He had a couple beads that he painted black and did an eyeball, and then he put a piece of string hanging down with an eyeball hanging from it. They look really cool. And I'm doing a Scarecrow Pumpkin Man, so I thought two of these birds, the way Monster Tutorials did his, on each shoulder of the Pumpkin Man will look pretty cool. So I don't think I'll do a video on that. Maybe I'll do a video just to show me doing it, but the process and the techniques definitely are not mine. That one is going to be directly from Monster Tutorial, so I'm not going to take any credit for that. It's definitely his idea on that. So that is the video for the dog. I think it looks great. It's going to look awesome Halloween night with some purple or green lights in front of it with the doll set up. And I'll definitely do a little walkthrough of what I've got going on in front of my house come October. Thanks for watching this one.